Hey guys, so in this commentary video, I'm doing two back-to-back, basically one with training partner Remy and one with Cleon, who are really young athletic guys. Remy in particular, who's got medals all up and down the country for doing gymnastics and a bunch of other sports, and he's had more MMA fights than I have. So an athletic dude anyway. So here, just kind of beginning. I'm still working off for my back. But here, mainly, what I want to do is just work on control and methodical squeeze. And so, basically, old man style jiu-jitsu. And so, I'm just basically being like a blanket right now on them, and also pacing myself because I expected them, since they're young and athletic, that they'd go two more rounds with me after this. But unfortunately, they could not. But anyway, so. He's trying to get his arm in between, so I just kind of like windshield wiper my legs to kind of get him in like almost like a crucifix style position with my legs. But here they basically just kind of got north south, head on hip. Um, he's not getting out of this position, but then I didn't really have much in means of attack anyway. So I've gone to control the head, and he's got his elbows up, and so that's like that's arm triangle territory. But here, just kind of control position. He's trying to get that knee in between me and him, but I blocked it, stepped over to mount, and I've still got this high finish on the arm triangle. So I was trying to see how I can step over to side control, and I think I'm a bit high, so I readjust. But then I just adjust my grip as well to get the arm triangle finish. And so we sort his gear and we start again. And so here, just going straight into butterfly, and got the underhook, the grip on the sleeve, and then past knee cut to side control. One of the things that we were doing before we started our rolling. But anyway, here he's turned his chin into me. But I think here, yes, I think I was trying to go for a bread cutter. He's just trying to pull me down and trying to off balance me by throwing me around. But I've got a good grip in his gi, and I'm trying to do the bread cutter, but he's kind of got me in a weird kind of position, so I didn't feel like I could go around to finish the other part of the choke, um, and so I'm just using that to pull him, and so also we don't go flying off the mats. And so I've just got this control here, so I've still got that right arm in that position, but I'm gripping his back, and I was working towards his lat to keep him towards me and not squirming the other way. And so here, just basically was working the position. What happens a lot of the time, as you find, and more experienced people would probably attest to this, there's only there's a duration, only a certain amount of time where people can actually actively keep moving underneath a good pin. They eventually have to relent something. And so that's what basically I'm doing here, just constantly keeping control, and then something else offers itself up in terms of improvement. And so there, I've stepped over into kind of like crucifix style position, and controlling the other arm, even though I wasn't really necessarily looking for this control. I was just basically slowing things down, pinning him, and then now, as I feel him stepping towards me, step up over, and I feel, hey, there's a reverse triangle here. So that's what I do. Just tighten the triangle, and I feel a tap, and I hear a gurgling of his throat. And whenever I hear that, I always let go. And so I was saying that was a tap, right? And he's just like, oh yeah, I could have resisted that a bit more. Like, okay, sure, yeah, okay, right. So we continue again, and we brace up. On that note as well, um, rather than feeling for a tap, yeah, yeah, like if you feel somebody's gargling and like, "Ah," like we're training partners, like we're not going to crush each other's tracheas. So if I hear that, I'm just going to let go. It's not worth it. And for the most part, it can be achieved again. So it's not the end of the world. Anyway, so we're here. I've kind of stuck myself in this running man position, and he is trying to work to get me on top of him to try and take my back. I'm just basically bringing my knees to my chest to make it difficult for him to roll me. And here he's on top, but he doesn't have any grips, and I just come to my knees, and he slides off on the floor, and I go to reverse knee on belly. And he's got a really tight grip on my gi, and then and I just try to get underneath his arm and try and separate, but he's pretty tight at the gi, and then he tears my gi, and I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, this is actually, I think it's, no, no, I wasn't a new gi, but yeah, it was a new gi actually to replace my other torn gi from another training partner, and that one's torn by somebody who isn't 120k, but is only like 75k. But anyway, so that's that roll, and roll next with Cleon. So we're back and we have this roll. And so we're starting again, and he is sewing his shoelaces. I mean, he's tying his belt, or actually, that's my belt, and that he's borrowed. But this, I think this should be part of most beginning jiu-jitsu classes. How do you tie your belt? Saves so much time. But anyway, so here puts it together, and now we begin. He wants to begin from the closed guard, so this is where we start. Now he's working to try and open the guard, but I'm just basically pulling the legs in and breaking his posture down that way. And so here I'm sensing a lot of upper body fight, which works for me because that's what I want to control. So basically, just got the guard closed, and I've got his posture where I want, and so I'm just seeing what else he's going to offer up with this position. I was trying to then do like a kick to off balance in that direction, but his knee goes over, and so here beginning for this open guard rather than the closed guard position. Tries to throw the legs aside, but I'm still in front of him, and I've still got grips on him to control him as he moves. So here I've got him basically setting up an omoplata now. So what I've got is that sleeve, I've got his upper body where I want, and then I figure for my legs, and he goes over. And so here I've got the wrist, and I've got him the elbow there to stop him from rolling, and he kept on still trying to roll, and his neck ended up paying the price for that. And he didn't realize that when you block somebody from rolling, it's very difficult to roll, and certainly when they're moving their hips back to start putting pressure on the shoulder, that pressure just gets transferred to your neck, and so I don't think they'll do that again. But anyway, so here reset, and now he's just I can feel he's really desperate to get past the legs, but I've entangled his legs now, and yes, fighting the urge to do leg attacks in positions he may not be familiar with. So here I'm just kind of sitting to see what he'll do. He's got to control my arm, but it's not going to get him out of this position, and it's going to get me off balance. And so what I'm doing here is just kind of leaving that arm there to see what he's going to do. But I'm just using my head to block there in case if I actually did go off balance. But here I just basically doing a reverse sit, and now I'm just going to slowly work to get my leg free. Now he's pressuring my armpit, but I feel that it's not going to be enough to move me off balance. Then he can then scramble or do anything. So it's got my leg free, went to side control, and then it's basically felt to go to mount to maintain balance would be better. And so here now working the collar choke again, looking for the slow burn approach. And so going for the collar choke, getting this first hand comfortable and tight, and then it's just a case of keeping the position, making sure my base is fine, going over the top with the collar. I think Hodger Gracie likes to do this as well. And then he thinks he's safe with that hand there, but the finish that I adapted years ago and have been trying to do ever since is done with the upper body in a rotation rather than a pulling in or rowing with the elbows. And so you don't actually use much arm strength at all, and it's easy to do even if people have hands in to defend. So once you got both hands in that grip, very difficult. And so so that's what I did. Anyway, there just playing with a sort of like open guard, had both feet and hip there, and did like kind of like a weird tripod sort of style bump. And so here I just basically come on top, and we're going to the edge of the mat, so I turn him around. this reminded me there that when I used to train with my mates back in the day, I used to do like walls of Jericho submissions to him, but I wasn't going to do that here. And so there I just kind of did like a little step Toriando, but then I just gave him a chance to try and re-guard again, so I did to the other side. And he's using that arm to block, so I come underneath, and then to get into it's a side control / knee on belly. So that's what I've got here. And he's still trying to push that knee. Had a quick check of the time there. But I'm just staying on top, staying heavy. There's an arm lock there, but I didn't want to just dive back for it. I didn't really control the arm to do that. And so here I've just got into side control, keeping him pinned, keeping him flat, seeing what I can work. If there's any space that he'll give me an obvious choke. But he's not quite doing that. So we'll go over to mount and see what else will be offered up. But the round ends. And so I asked the guys if they could do 5 more minutes, even though Remy had 5 minutes out, but they couldn't. But anyway, that's kind of the rules. That's the end of the commentary. Wanted to do like an Ironman where I just had back to back, and I would have picked up the pace in the last videos. But I'll see you guys in the next commentary videos. Thanks for tuning in again.